right, is everybody there?
Yep.
Let's call this council meeting of May 19th, 2020 to order. Megan, would you like to do the flag salute tonight?
Sure.
All right. Step aside, Joe.
All right, ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Donna, you want to do the roll call?
Sure. I'm gonna, in my normal order, Councilmember Feast. Here. Councilmember Anesco.
Here.
Councilmember Bode. We will not forget you tonight.
Thank you.
Mayor Dorsey.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Peterson. Here. Councilmember McDowell.
Present.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
All right, thank you. There will be, we'll be adding a proclamation to the agenda tonight. And is there any other changes to the agenda? If not, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
We have a second?
Second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So now I'm going to read this proclamation. And in our presentation tonight, and it's City of Shelton National Public Works Week Proclamation, May 17 to 23, 2020. The rhythm of public works. Here we go. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities.
Is that okay? You want me to turn it on now?
No.
That are vital importance.
I was just curious. I just wanted to make sure. Come here for a second. Let me get me start my video. Just
Should I start over?
Yeah. Yeah, you just click there. And then my share screen.
I was gonna say I was getting confused.
We can hear you, Ken.
Where'd Jeff
Ken
go?
muted his mic
There
now. And so Ken, that was appropriate because we're doing the Public Works Day proclamation.
Yeah.
So it's good. Ken in action, okay?
All right. Public Works Proclamation, May 17th to 23, 2020, the rhythm of public works. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of people of Shelton. And whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, wastewater treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders and civic, whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Shelton to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2020 marks the 60th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Be it now resolved, I, Mayor Kevin Dorsey, do hereby designate the week May 17th through 23rd, 2020 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with respective representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, quality of life. Signed this 19th day of May 2020 in Shelton, Washington. Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could interrupt real quick, if everybody not currently speaking could hit mute on your microphone. Somebody has a bird friend that's chirping around out there. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to our business agenda. The only item on the business agenda tonight is a contract change with Aspect Consulting for the C Street Landfill. City Engineer Ken Gill has the details for us. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So good evening. My name's Ken Gill. I'm the city engineer, and I've got to present a contract extension for you tonight. But I also want to do a quick update on the C Street Landfill. And this is more for me than you guys because I'm still feeling new here and I wanted to learn a little bit more about it to talk to you guys about it. The C Street Landfill is located on the west end of C Street. So there's C Street right there. It's inside that box right there. It's just west of 101. There's Railroad Avenue. City Hall's down here. The city acquired the property in the 1928. It was a solid waste landfill until the 1980s. After that time, we entered into an agreed order with Ecology for cleanup in September 2016. And then the city selected Aspect Consulting to prepare the reporting and the requirements that we need to do to close it out. In December 2008, we drilled 4 monitor wells to nearly 100 feet below the ground surface. So there's a Holocene drilling. That's their drill rig out there, along with the 3 drillers in the blue hard hats. So there's a picture of the back of the drill rig. This is the drill stem. That's the drill casing. It's going into the ground. They've got plastic spread out there in case they run into contaminants. Here's some samples they collected. That's monitor well number 4, 15 to 20 feet deep. So I don't know if you recognize any garbage in there, but that's what's down about 20 feet deep below the ground surface. This is a soil gas sample. That's the monitor well. It's painted yellow in the middle and it's got 3 bollards around it. But that's the sample tube that's going into the sample collection system to look for leachate, and that's in the landfill. Our crews used our backhoe to excavate some test pits out there to sample for petroleum hydrocarbons, benzene, and other wastes. There's our guys and our backhoe. There's the test pit. So that's the kind of the soils that are out there now. So using the results that they gained through the drilling and the sampling, they built some cross sections and they put it into this report that they've submitted to the Department of Ecology for review. And the report will be available on our website, but it basically gave 4 alternatives for cleanup. And the first alternative is the one that we hope to implement, but it's to put a permeable soil cap on the top have some institutional controls like fencing, and conduct some long-term monitoring out of those wells that we installed to look for contaminants. So today we received approval from ecology. Ecology had some comments. That's you're shown in purple, and Aspect made them and submitted it back to ecology, and they blessed our report. So moving forward, the next step is a public participation plan. And this is a plan that's available also at our website, at Ecology's website, and they kind of do this for this. But what really happens is that they publish the document, they send out notification, and then they collect any public comments on it. So looking ahead, the next steps are we need to negotiate a cleanup order. We need to continue to pursue the state funding that we have. Right now in the 2020 supplemental budget, there's $500,000. And then in the 2021-2023 budget, there's $600,000. And that money comes with a 25% match. So we're hoping that the cleanup can go to construction in 2021, but it's dependent on negotiating the cleanup order and the state funding. So the majority of the cleanup, as it does go, it'll happen within about 6 months' time, construction time, but monitoring is going to go on for 20 to 30 years to make sure that what we've implemented is working. So the best case scenario is that the cleanup construction is finished by the end of next year, 2021, and then the monitoring begins in 2022. So with that, I can take any questions that you have, but I recommend that you extend Aspect's contract out another year so they can continue working towards closing out this property for us. That's the end of my presentation, and thanks for letting me present on Zoom.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Kathy.
So is the 25% match, is that just on the 600,000 or is that on the 500 also?
It's both.
Okay, so approximately, I'm real good at really, figuring numbers in my head. How much does the city have to come up with?
So 10% of $500,000 is around 50,000.
Okay.
Okay. So 25% is about 100,000, a little over 100,000.
Okay. All right.
We're talking like about 300,000 for both, and those funds would be coming from our garbage.
The solid waste fund.
Solid waste fund. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
All
I have
right.
a question as well. Okay.
Any more questions?
Just to clarify, as I read it in the packet, that this extension is a no-cost extension. Am I correct in that?
Yes, you're right. I apologize. I didn't mention that, but you're right. This is a no-cost cross extension.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One question regarding the funding that's coming from the state. Is this typically coming from the Model Toxins Control Act, MOTCA funds? Do you know?
Yes, it's called I want to make sure I get the grant funding right. It's I submitted for it, but it's a remedial action grant funding that Ecology offers.
Okay.
So
the only reason I ask is I know that last legislative session there were some cuts, I believe, to MOTCA funds, which I believe funds activities like this, cleanup activities. I'm just very motivated, like everybody else, to get this project kind of wrapped up, but also with everything else in kind of hanging in the balance. Hopefully that funding will continue and maybe something we put a pin in for legislative priorities for next session.
So Councilmember Schmidt, when the cuts to MOTCA came out, we did look at that same day and made sure that this fund, we had our consultant with Aspect take a look at that and verify for us that the cuts would not affect our grant dollars in 2021 through 2023. And
Awesome.
they will not.
Great. Fantastic news. Thank you.
Anything else?
Do we still need the slide up?
No, I don't need it.
Thank you.
But we do have the funds for the cleanup regardless in the solid waste fund, correct? It's about $900,000. Memory serves me right. If we did not get the grants.
I have the book in front of me and I can look it up, but the my memory is that currently we had 600,000 in that fund. I can look it up and get you an exact number.
I thought there was a 600,000 carryover and then the $710,000 for the equipment sale, and I thought we hadn't spent much of that money at all.
No, we haven't spent much of that money. I could be wrong, but I will could be wrong on the amount, but I'll look it up and get that for you.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was around 1.2 or
Page
something. 900.
90 of the budget,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
page 90.
Funding sources.
Was there any more questions? All right. Staff is recommending that council concur to move this item to the action agenda for June 2nd. We all concur?
Yes.
Concur.
Yes.
All right.
And just to answer that question, so the 2019 budget, the solid waste fund had 600,000, and the 2020 budget it has 470,000. So there was some dollars spent on a few things, but with the grants, those don't include the grant amounts. That's just what we have following the transfer of our service. So we should have more than enough to complete the 25% match.
Okay. Move on to the action agenda. The first item on the action agenda is the purchase of rollers for the Public Works Department. Public Works Director Jay Harris is going to share that with us.
Good evening, Council. Jay Harris, your Public Works Director. I don't know, I know I've spoke to you before. This might be my first presentation though. So the 2020 budget included $70,000 to replace our large roller. The compaction roller is used on a lot of roadway projects and also on a trench repair type of projects and that sort of thing. We went out and got quotes for a new replacement roller. It was less than $70,000. The proposal actually, up until the virus hit, was to get two rollers, one to replace the big roller and to get a smaller roller that would have helped for trench patching. The smaller roller is much more agile and it gets into a lot of areas that the big roller can't get to. With the virus and budgeting right now, staff decided to hold off on the large roller purchase and to move forward with the smaller roller. What that will do is allow us to do these, use the large roller, keep maintaining it. Obviously, it's 24 years old, and hold off the replacement till later this year or next budget year, but use the little roller as a backup. So if the big roller isn't available because it's getting worked on, we can get by. We'll have this other smaller roller. And then it'll also allow us to get into really tight areas and do some work that we weren't capable of doing before. So the request is that council approve a purchase of a small roller for $17,523.
All right. Thank you, Jay. Do we have a motion?
Just one point of clarification before I make a motion. Is that okay? We just want to make sure that we have a understanding that, you know, There's a 24-year-old, the big roller is a 24-year-old roller with a lifespan of 15 years. That's also in the packet. So where we can support the continuation of, making our city, habitable and making sure that we can commute effectively and safely is important. So I would make a motion to accept the purchase of $17,000 for the smaller roller, and for us to look forward to how we can support in the future with the budget as it comes available.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any council members have discussion?
I just have a question. Is this roller addition to the fleet, or is it a replacement?
Yeah, it's an addition to the fleet. Right now, we just have one large roller. And so this will give us a second roller, give us some redundancy.
The other funds that use the roller, are they going to be paying rent to use the roller?
That's correct. Yeah, the EMR fund gets paid back by like the sewer fund, water fund, and the storm fund will all pay back when the smaller roller, they'll be using it for trench compaction and that sort of thing. So yes, there will be. And then in that payback rate is replacement costs long-term, right? That we're trying to build sustainable funds, right? So we don't get into having a 24-year-old roller or a 20-year-old tractor with a flail mower that's failing and all that. So the goal is to be on a proper equipment replacement schedule.
But I like the old faithful. Come on. Just needs a little coaxing to get going. That's all.
I applaud your efforts because asset management has been a consistent theme as we've had budget discussions and will continue to be, especially as we move forward with some of these challenges. So thank you for providing us with a good option for now and a thoughtful response about a long-term strategy.
Yeah, it's better to wait right now just because of the potential economic impacts of this, but of the virus. But then also we need to do our part in spending to get the economy going once we get through this. So we need to be a little cautious right now. But Jeff and I have had discussions, moving forward about, we do need to do projects in the future to get people back to work again.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we have a motion. Is there anybody else? We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of a smaller roller for the time being and authorize me to sign a purchase order number PO 2021. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's move on to City Manager Jeff Knighton has some information for us about an ordinance to update the non-represented salary schedule.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and those members of the public that may be watching on our third Zoom meeting and hopefully one of the last. On May 5th, we talked about a change that wouldn't affect any dollar amounts, but would affect my ability to bring employees in at a higher step on the pay scale than would otherwise be the place, depending on qualifications and the type of interest that we had for folks working at the city. It's an administrative change, a small one, but it's a lesson in version control. So the change tonight is, I believe at last meeting I mentioned that no one could come in above step B regardless. I think I misspoke there. It should be no one could have come in above step C, where this version of the ordinance would allow a new employee to be placed anywhere on the scale with my approval. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anyone? All right. At this time, we'll ask for a second reading of the ordinance number 1951-0320.
Ordinance number 1951-0320, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington, ratifying existing employment positions and salary schedule.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve ordinance number 1951-0320, updating the non-represented salary schedule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 1951-0320, updating the non-represented salary schedule. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, move on to administration reports. We have one from Mr. Jeff, our city manager. Please give us your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council and members of the public again. One thing that I did want to mention today, this morning we heard from the governor that several additional counties in the state are eligible to reapply for a move more swiftly to phase 2 of the reopening plan. I do understand that the county will be applying for that either late this week or early next week in an effort to move forward to phase 2. So we'll see what happens with this application. Every state now is in some phase of reopening, and we're still in the first phase, but hopefully we'll get to move to the second phase here pretty quickly. The other item that I wanted to mention was really my appreciation for the Shelton Police Department. You've probably all seen the couple of things that have gone on over the past, 2 or 3 days. They've worked extremely hard at protecting our community, and I'm incredibly proud of the leadership of that department and of the officers that are out on the street keeping us all safe. It's not something that you hear about all the time. With the bomb squad call out, I'm just glad that it was over at the picnic table, so we didn't have to worry about anything else. But very, very pleased and very proud to work with those folks. And that's pretty much all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Hey, Jeff, I was wondering, did they catch that other guy yet, or?
Don't believe they have.
Okay.
Not yet.
So the one guy's not talking?
Yeah, evidently not.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Jeff,
Yes.
the Board of Health is meeting Friday morning.
Okay.
So I think it's Friday that they're going to submit that.
But yeah, I knew it was late this week or early next. I couldn't remember the exact time.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see what the governor's office has to say.
Yeah. You know, why do we have to wait 3-4 days to a week to reapply?
I think that's on, I don't quote me here, but I think that is because the Department of Health has to, the Mason County Department of Health has to meet and approve the application.
I see.
They aren't scheduled to meet until Friday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the criteria changed as well. So
Yeah.
they have to rewrite it based on the new criteria.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Hopefully, our next meeting will be June 2nd is what it's planned for. And government, as most all of us know, is in phase 3 of the reopening plan. Whether we're able to meet in person or not, we will monitor that over the next week, and we'll make sure the public is informed, as well as the council, if we'll be doing Zoom meetings again, or if we'll be meeting downstairs in the larger conference room so that we can maintain social distancing at that point.
Yeah, phase 2 is groups of 5, I believe.
Yeah, phase 2 is groups of 5, and then government, which is, I interpret as city council meetings that the public may attend, at least through video, the same way we did the one in March, the first meeting in March. That I believe is phase 3. So June 2nd, the June 2nd city council meeting is more likely than not to be handled the same way we are tonight. But we'll be monitoring that, and we'll make sure the public is aware. And we'll make sure council is aware and that staff is ready to present those things that the council can consider.
All right. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 2, 2020 at 6 o'clock. This meeting is adjourned.